speakers. Our first speaker is Dr. Aaron Kep. We'll give him maybe 5-10 minutes. He's going to share with whatever he's passionate about. And then we'll maybe take questions for 5 minutes, and then we'll bring up another speaker. You're going to have 3 powerful speakers today. You're going to learn a lot about health and wellness. So welcome, thank you for coming, and let's give it up for Dr. Aaron!
Real lot of fun. So if any of you know Greg, you know that he kind of flies by the seat of his pants. And that's okay. Things that I'm passionate about, I probably shouldn't talk about my wife right now.
I go for it.
So when Greg talked to me about presenting something here, I just thought, well, what would be important or meaningful or helpful? Bottom line, as business professionals, entrepreneurs, or just people who want to, as the old Vulcan said, live long and prosper, I think the best place for you to invest ever is yourself. It just pays the best dividends. You get all the benefits. So really important. There are any number of things that will help you be more productive, more engaging, live longer, live better. And we can't cover all of those in a few minutes. But I want to talk to you about a couple of keys that I think are almost universal to anybody's health and wellness. Back to the business piece, you know, if you want to really stay engaged and stay effective as you get less young, it's Dr. RJ's birthday today. That's how I want to say that to people. You know, you're wiser, that kind of thing. You really need to take care of your brain. There's a lot of talk about that these days. You know, I think the NFL has made it very front and center with concussion and so on. This is not new. People have had traumatic brain injuries and post-concussion syndrome forever. And so we're not going to focus on that so much, but just how do you take care of yourself, including your brain, because you really need those executive functions if you want to function as an executive, as a business owner, as a mover and shaker in whatever you do. So in the big picture, what will keep a brain healthy is all those things that you need to do to stay healthy anyway. Balance a lot of different things, and that's probably a key here, balance in all of these things. So I'm not going to talk at length about anything, but my 7 keys to healthy living are pretty simple. The first one is to have a purpose. If you have a purpose, it will draw you forward. It will help you help others. And that's a huge part of anti-aging and longevity. In research I've done for preparation of different presentations and so on, one of the things that is common through any anti-aging literature is doing something for others. And caring about it. That's really a big piece of what makes us humans. So having a purpose is key. Attitude, number 2. I've got this little medallion in my pocket. I think it's in there. Yeah. It says, attitude is everything. So I don't really think that attitude is everything, but it's really important. For example, I don't think that having the right attitude will just help you think cancer away. You can't do that. But I can promise you that the attitude you bring to any healthcare condition, any challenge in life will definitely affect its outcome. So keep that positive. I always say, hey, make sure your attitude is worth catching. You know, they're kind of contagious. That's how that works. Number 3, we could talk for days about. Very passionate for me, nutrition. So that means the food you eat, the supplements you take, and the water you drink. Americans do not have a healthy diet. We call it the SAD diet, the standard American diet. You've heard lots of this many times. So I don't want to just, drone on about this, but I'm going to tell you, Americans need to eat real food. You've got to get this processed and refined stuff out of your kitchen and out of your life. It just doesn't feed the human body well. It just doesn't. So, not that I quote Dr. Oz a lot, but I think he said something like, you should eat things as they come out of the ground, before they're adulterated, before they're changed. It's kind of simple. It's not always fun, but you can make it fun. So what you need is clean protein, lots of vegetables, lots of clean water, a little bit of fruit. We always hear fruits and vegetables. I always tell my patients, vegetables and a little fruit. Fruits are high in sugar. If you guys like references, there's a million of them we can throw out here if you really want to understand things about a couple of books that I could talk to you about. A guy last year, Robert Lustig, he's a pediatric oncologist, Southern California, wrote a book called Fat Chance. And it's all about, too much sugar in our diets. He calls it straight, sugar is a toxin. It is absolutely toxic, even though we are addicted to it. It gives us a dopamine response. That's all about reward and motivation. So people love sugar. I do too. I just don't eat a lot of it. Anyway, supplements. I think people need to supplement because you literally cannot get enough quality nutrition in a standard diet. As early as 1936, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said our soils are depleted of trace minerals. It hasn't gotten better, I can tell you that. So I take a ton of supplements, and I don't, people say, well, if I could just do one thing, Dr. Kep, what would it be? And there we go, that silver bullet. No. Nutrition should be very targeted. It should be very specific to you. Functional medicine is kind of an emerging approach to healthcare. So I'm a functional medicine doc, as well as a chiropractor and so on and so on. Functional medicine is pretty tough to define in simple terms, but I always say there are 4 Ps. It's very personalized. Even if you have a twin, you likely have slightly different DNA. Okay, so it should be very individualized to you. It's very predictive. With functional medicine testing, laboratory testing, you can see well in advance of a disease state that's coming. You don't have to wait until you can put a name on it to do something about it. You can intervene. That's the 3rd P, proactive. You just get ahead of that curve. Ultimately, functional medicine helps people predict, be proactive, and prevent. Some of you are old enough to remember this guy. The Surgeon General back in the 80s was C. Everett Koop. In his report to the President in 1986, this is what he said. About 80 to 85% of all the chronic, degenerative diseases are actually preventable with diet and exercise. Now we've heard that a million times. And I always pause on those words, chronic, degenerative. Chronic, it's not going away. Degenerative, it's going downhill. This is not good. It's just not good. So nutritional supplementation is important, but it's got to be individualized to you. Water, here's my rule. You don't have to tell anybody the number. Take your body weight, divide it in half. That's the minimum number of fluid ounces you should drink every 24 hours, period. More if you work outside and sweat a lot, more if you drink caffeinated beverages and sugary beverages, and so on. Getting through my keys here. Activity/exercise. They're not exactly the same thing. Lots of different guidelines on exercise, and I don't think you have to, go crazy and, join a health club and beat yourself up. I think a lot of people over-exercise. The #1 former of free radicals in humans is exercise. So there's that balance thing again. You should be active, you should exercise, but don't push it too far. Rest and sleep. Don't say anything, Rich. These are huge, and they're not the same thing. Everybody's had a night where they slept, like I did last night, but I don't feel particularly rested. A little too much going on in the brain today. Busy brain syndrome, I call it. So when you get quality rest, all kinds of different things happen in your body. You balance hormones, you repair and regenerate, and you retool and you recharge, all kinds of things. You have to get quality rest. Don't say anything, Rich. 7 to 9 hours. 7 to 9 hours, period. That's what the body needs or wants. Stress management, because you can't eliminate it. You cannot get rid of stress. If you're married, you got stress. You're not married, you got stress. Kids, no kids. You just need to learn to manage that. And you'll notice how some of these things intertwine. People that get good rest, people that are active in exercise, people that have good nutrition, they manage stress better. They just do. They really do. People that have a purpose, maybe you could throw in a little, I don't want to be religious, but meditation, mindful meditation is huge in brain health. It's one of the big ones. It really is. You can't change things like age. That's a risk factor for dementia and Alzheimer's, right? Family history. You can't change some of those things, but you can affect diet, exercise, attitude. Mindful meditation is one of the powerful things that actually helps what's called neuroplasticity. That's The brain is very malleable. It's very adaptable to input. It's a computer. It's your central processor. You know, as a chiro, we really focus on the nervous system a lot because the brain controls and coordinates everything in the human body. Gray's Anatomy says the function of the nervous system is to control and coordinate all the other organs, systems, and tissues, period. I mean, what's a chiropractic adjustment? It's input to your central nervous system. The good research in chiropractic today is brain-based. You know, it's not what people think, believe me. So manage that stress. What else? ADLs, activities of daily living. It's how we do what we do. You know, routines help. Dogs teach us that. You know, a lot of people think my golden retriever is so well trained, and I go, he's been training me for 11 years, you know. They love routine. They function better. So do we. In activities of daily living, this includes things like posture, you know, ergonomics, setting up your workstation, and so on. So there's a myriad things you can think about how you go through your day. Okay? Going to bed at the same time will help you rest better. Again, these things are very intertwined. So the last one, because I'm a chiropractor, I say get adjusted. Get adjusted. Your spine and nervous system are key to how you function. This isn't about back pain. I'll bet you RJ gets adjusted, I get adjusted when we don't even hurt. Why would you do that? Because I'll bet you guys change the oil in your car before the light comes on, right? That's why you do that, because it runs better, it works better. And that's not the holy grail of healthcare. I'm not one of these chiros that thinks, hey, this is all you got to do is be adjusted and you'll just, you know, live to 180. No. It's a key component of taking care of how your spine and nervous system works. So those are 7 keys. Specifically when it comes to brain health, I wanted to just touch on that a little bit. This is big stuff. You got to keep that brain stimulated. I used the term neuroplasticity before. It's input driven. That's what it is. Whatever your brain is taking in, that's what's going to shape it. I heard Zig Ziglar on a CD a few years ago, and he says, you know, quoting some scientist, he says, this guy says, I've never met a guy that had dementia or Alzheimer's who did 3 things. Stayed active physically, stayed challenged mentally, and truly cared for others. Stayed socially engaged. Those are big keys to brain health. Okay? Nutritionally, what do we need? It's probably more important what we don't want. Sometimes I tell my patients, hey, instead of taking one more thing, that's what Americans want. What do I take for that? I hear it all the time. I go, don't take something, give something up. I'm like, whoa, we don't want to do that. Sugar would be a good one. At least moderate on it. It's just terrible for you. I mean, it feeds cancer, facilitates degenerative change, you know, you name it. It's just not a good compound for us. Processed and refined foods. It's kind of fake food. Your body just doesn't use that as well as real whole food complexes. I'm not trying to plug Whole Foods. So what do you eat? Clean protein and a lot of vegetables. That will take you a long way. I always say eat your vegetables or you'll become one. It's kind of true. Even the science that we have on all these great phytochemicals, you know, over the last 20 years, all these things have been discovered, sulforaphane and lycopene and all this stuff. Well, guess what we're going to know in 5 years or 10 years? More. Nature's got this stuff figured out, and if you plug in and realize that we're part of nature and not try to function separately and, you know, outside of that, you'll do better. You'll absolutely do better. Brains love fat. Now, Americans are kind of fat phobic, and I think that's crazy. I'll bet I eat more fat than most people in this room, and yet I don't have a, you know, big waistline. And I don't work out excessively at all. I really don't. Your brain is largely made up of DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. You know, that's one of those omega-3s. It's got EPA in there too, but your brain really is loaded up with DHA. Medical neurologist David Perlmutter wrote a book last year called Grain Brain. I know we all love our bread, I get that, but I'm telling you, you eat grain, you are making autoantibodies to your own brain. The #1 category of diseases in this country and around the world is autoimmune. We are attacking our own bodies, and I say it's because we aren't balanced nutritionally. We don't have the foundation nutrition to help our bodies function the way they were designed to. Perlmutter also wrote a book several years ago called The Better Brain Book, subtitled How to Raise Your Child's IQ by 30 Points before birth. Now that's not rocket science. That's starting with a want to be pregnant mom. I just did this with one of my daughters. Okay? Super healthy baby. But we got started early. We detoxed her, we got her gut healthy. There's another buzzword out there today, the microbiome. Those 10 trillion cells in your gut that just rule you more than you know. Where is 95% of the serotonin in the body? Small intestine. It's in your gut. Sure, it's a neurotransmitter, but that's really where it hangs out. That microbiome, all these little 10 trillion cells in your gut, they will affect your mood, they will affect your bone health, they will affect your energy, they will affect everything in your body. There's more and more research about what's going on in your gut, so I always tell people, if you want to be healthy, gut and liver. Liver and gut. I know everybody's focused on the heart. Yeah, it's a nice pump. You should take care of that, but I'm telling you, if you really want to live, get that gut clean. So Perlmutter's book, Better Brain book, he's talking about how do you get a healthy, smart baby. You got to load the mom up on DHA. That's one thing you do. It takes a woman, on average, 22 months to replenish her DHA after giving birth. I'm from a family of 11. I was number 9. So I always tease my brother he's 2 years older than me. So my mom had enough time to recharge. I went, that's why I'm so smart. Actually, that's not true. All the kids in my family are pretty bright. So anyway, the brain loves fat. Fat. The 3 fats that I think you should have in your kitchen, and no others, coconut oil. It's the best thing you can cook in. Very heat stable, excellent source of medium chain triglycerides. What that means is your body can just take that coconut oil and boom, it makes energy. All kinds of research coming out on coconut oil. It got a bad rap 15 years ago because they were loading it up in the popcorn and the movie theaters and all that kind of stuff. Well, it's a saturated fat. Americans are afraid of saturated fat. You should eat animal fats. You just shouldn't eat fat from animals that are raised on grain and managed like most animals are. So I eat beef. Somebody out here just asked me, do you eat beef? I went, absolutely. It's all grass-fed. You know, got a whole freezer full. I eat meat all the time. Fish all the time, but I won't eat farmed fish. Here's a little trick about fish. Why is it so bad to eat swordfish and tuna and shark and some of those? It's simple. They live a long time. And if you live on this planet, you are accumulating toxins. That's why I think everybody should detox once or twice a year. Everybody, including me. Got my wife trained now. She said to me a couple of days ago, honey, should we do another one of those things? And I go, what does that mean? Because her favorite word is thingy. She goes, you know, one of those cleansed things. I go, oh, a detox. I go, yeah, let's do one. So anyway, we accumulate toxins. So do fish. So when you eat tuna, you're getting a pretty good dose of mercury and maybe some PCBs and some other things. So you eat sockeye salmon, it only lives 2 or 3 years. And if you get it from Alaska, the cleanest waters on the planet, it's not perfect, but they're clean, much less toxicity. That's why sardines and herring and all these little teeny guys, they don't live long. They don't accumulate the crap. But they're full of omega-3s, and she's going, whoopee, wrap it up. I love that, so I will. Other good sources of fat are nuts. Somebody shared this with me recently. I thought it was great. If you look at a walnut, it kind of looks like a brain. Walnuts are good for brains. So are almonds, so are hazelnuts, so are some other things. Peanuts don't count. They're not good. The big thing that drives your brain is attention. Have you ever heard that what you put your attention on, you'll attract? What you put your attention on, you'll, find more of that in your life? Yeah, that's how that neuroplasticity thing works. It's what you care about, what you give attention to, that's what you're feeding, and that's what you're going to grow. So, to wrap up, I hope I haven't bored you. I know I try to blow through a lot of stuff here, classic break style. But you can ask me any questions anytime. Be happy to try to help point you in the right direction. Back to the point, invest in yourself. Nobody has more to gain. Nobody will get more benefit. And you have a long life ahead of you, probably longer than you think. So it really makes sense for you to plug in and take as good a care of yourself as you can. Thanks for listening.
All right, I think we'll hold the questions till the end so we can make sure we have a chance to hear from all the speakers, because I wasn't watching the clock, but it's 1:30, and we have a half hour together, and then we're going to be going into the other room. So our next speaker is, are you a doctor, Sue?
No.
Okay, Sue McCrossan is a brain specialist, and she's going to take another piece of brain. Neuroscientist. Wow. So we're going to learn all kinds of cool things. I learned some awesome things from Dr. Aaron, didn't you? Did anybody learn something besides you? Absolutely. This was worth our time. So we're going to bring Sue up, and she's going to talk to us more about the brain.
Oh, hey. I got friends here. Oh, well, that's all people I know. Okay, so I'm Susan McCrossan. I talk funny, so if you have any problems with any words, just put your hand up and I'll say it in a different way. So, see if that works. So what I specialize in is in rewiring brains to get rid of learning difficulties. So ADD, ADHD, and dyslexia. I've been doing it for about 25 years, and I couldn't agree more that absolutely having a clean brain is important. I've been detoxing for 30 years. I just turned 60, and people say to me, "You're so lucky you look so well." It's got absolutely nothing to do with luck. All right, I eat gluten-free, I don't eat junk foods, I don't drink sodas, and I don't get headaches anymore like I used to, that sort of thing. So what I do, though, that I want to talk about is the wiring of the brain. And people who have an ADD, ADHD, or dyslexia diagnosis, it's fairly obvious that something's going wrong. But you can have an undiagnosed learning difficulty, like I did, and I went through the first 30 years of my life, or 35 years of my life, with half my brain working. I just knew there were some things I wasn't good at, and I avoided them, right? But you have two sides to the brain, as I'm sure you're aware. You have a logical side and a creative Gestalt side. And it's important, if you want to go through life easily, that you can access both sides of the brain at once. What I see is a lot of adults and a lot of people who work for themselves, they might have a stack of books next to the bed that they know they should read, but they don't actually get around to it because they don't realize that they're actually slow readers, or they don't always retain what they read, so they might have to reread, and then it becomes tedious, and then anything else is more interesting. I'll just go prune the roses, find something else to do, or watch television where it's coming in, you don't have to process it. So when you read, you have to interpret all those squiggles on the page with the Gestalt or the creative side of your brain, and then you have to transfer it to the other side for comprehension. So if you're not doing that easily, then you might be reading at twice the rate that you can comprehend, but then you have to slow your reading down, and you can take the information in faster if it was coming in auditorily, but because you're having to process the words, the whole thing just seems boring. So at least with audible.com, you can download it. Mind you, if someone talks to you in the middle of a sentence, then you've just missed a bit. But that's one factor. Then the other thing is staying on task. You need good logical access to be able to stay on task well too. So when I see learning difficulty kids, I can usually tell which parent has the learning difficulty also, even though they may never have been diagnosed, and I certainly wasn't at school because I wasn't a behavioural problem. I can tell by their profession. So people who have lower logic tend to go into sales. They do some sort of job where they're not sitting at a desk. It might be a marketing, sales, some sort of hands-on job like a mechanic, or something like that, because sitting at a desk being an accountant would probably send them crazy in about an hour, right? If they can't keep themselves sitting there that long, or they might get behind a camera. It's the other thing they might do. They're creative, and it's got nothing to do with your IQ. It's a wiring problem. So at 35, I started developing this work looking at kids with learning difficulties and watching their compensations, and discovered that that's how I discovered that I had a learning problem, and I just was no good at, say, exams. So in Australia, where I come from, we have the European system. After 12 years of school, you have one set of state-run final exams, and that's your high school grade and university entrance. I got nothing less than an A- during school, but when the exams came, I unfortunately picked ancient Greek history, which requires a lot of names and dates, failed one exam. No, that's a fail for all of high school. No summer school. I would have had to repeat the entire year again, and they take 10% of the mark off when you're coming through a second time. So So I managed to talk my way into a technical school, and then years later, and I can tell you that failing ancient Greek history has never held me back in life in any way, shape or form. But years later, at 39, I went back, I studied industrial design. That's what I did when I went to the, and I passed that. So years later, at 39, I'm developing that technique. I want to go back to university and do a neuroscience psychology double degree so I can get access to the brain scanning equipment. I never had to confess that I'd failed high school. I just put the industrial design years. I ended up graduating equal top student in neuroscience because I can go into an exam now and I can see the page in the book. So just to let you know that if there's anything you don't really like or you find hard to do, because the things they measure, and so also like the brain scanning equipment showed that they were becoming more active in the frontal lobes when they had to do a decision-making task, which learning difficulty people never become active in the frontal lobes, no matter what you get them to do. Right? So that's all on my website. I have some cards at the back. I've got some brochures, and I've got some books for $10 that I've written about explaining what I'm trying to say in 10 minutes, explaining about exactly what's going on in the brain. And a lot of people who read and a lot of teachers go, oh my God, it's so obvious. I can't believe that no one really worked this out before. So there you go. I just want to let you know that you can always improve. And Frank happens to be here, one of my biggest fans, because I worked on his boys, who didn't really have a problem. They were a great example of being bright kids, didn't really have a problem, but your eldest knew that there was something he wasn't so good at. And immediately after we did him, he was able to get up and give a talk to his class in school. He was the only kid that didn't need notes. All right? So it made a big difference to him. And now he's at West Point, and he's writing proposals for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the 24. Right? He's like a superstar. And that gave him that edge. It gave him when you have full access to your brain, because having a learning difficulty has got nothing to do with your IQ. The smarter you are, the better you hide it. Right? But when you've got everything accessed, then yeah, I went from failing exams to, I was in shock, I have to tell you, because I didn't expect that result. So there we go, Susan McCrossan.
What's it in here?
It's just at the back. It's called Breaking the Learning Barrier, and I'm selling them today for $10 to you guys.
Thank you. That was so quick. I was going to say, we got the board for Sue.
No, I know,
She was going to draw diagrams and do some stuff. What we can do if we have time later, you guys can all just draw pictures. And we'll just have some fun. Or after you've had a couple drinks and you're all liquored up, you can draw some pictures. That'll be more fun. So, all right, so our next speaker it's his birthday. So what I'd like to do is have everybody sing happy birthday. I'm a prison singer. Does anyone know what a prison singer is? No. I can't carry a tune. No, I'm always behind a few bars and I can't find the key. Okay, so that's a nice way of saying I can't carry a tune. Who can sing? Dr. Aaron, come here.
Everybody.
I need somebody who can sing to lead us in happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear RJ. Happy birthday to you.
So now we've got to hear from Dr. RJ. I hope I said this right. Galinas?
No, Jelena.
Jelena.
Okay.
Dr. RJ Jelena.
Okay, so I'm going to be more interactive than these two wonderful, great speakers. So here's what I want you guys to write down. I want you to write number 1 on your page. What comes after 1? Nope, 5 and 10. So 1, 5, and 10, please. And I want you, what's that? Whatever you want. Just 1, 5, and 10. Write them down vertically so you can write a little goal. So I want you to write a 1-year goal, a 5-year goal, and a 10-year goal real quick. And if you guys don't know your goals, I think there's a whole event on it maybe here in a few minutes, so it's probably good that you guys are here. So 1, 5, and 10, like that. Then after the 10, I want you to write a big number, 100, dash 60. Then after that, after the 100-60, I want you to write down this. Health equals, and then write down your own definition of health.
Okay, so some of you guys are done. I'm glad that you guys, when I do this at companies, what's really weird is that you guys being entrepreneurs, most of you guys know goals. When I do this at companies for typical workers, guess what they're looking around for? Someone else's goals, right? So, you know, Dr. Aaron talked about purpose and stuff like that. I want to educate you guys more on something about health. And the reason it is because what do you guys think you need to achieve your goals? What do you guys, well, who said that? Okay, but what do most people think that they need? Just more what?
Time.
Okay, time, right? So time.
Money.
And then money. Okay, those are the big two things that all people believe, that if I have time and money, I'm going to reach my goals. There's a guy by the name of Steve Jobs. He worked with Apple. You guys might have products all throughout your house or in your pockets right now. He had $7 billion in his bank account. Where is he today? Okay, so we can take money off the table. Okay, time. So time, nursing homes in Colorado, what's the vacancy rate? You can't get in. Okay, they're all full. They're all full. You cannot get in. And what do these people have that you guys don't have? They had a lot more time because they're older than you. So time is not the what? Time's not the key. Okay, so time and money are not the answer. There's something far more powerful in your lives to determine your goals, and it's your health. Okay, right? So you guys with me on that? Because if you have your health, you're going to be able to reach your goals because you're going to have more time, you're going to have more money if you have your health, and you're not going to waste it. But here's the problem with that. If it was that simple, well, then where would our health be? Say better. Say better. Come on. Come on. Don't lie to me. Don't be liars in here. Your health will be better. So I want you guys right now to yell out your definition of health that you guys wrote down. How do you define health? Yeah, go ahead.
Cycling across America.
Okay, so if you're able to be active, okay, perfect. What else? Come on, yell out answers. Come on, get happiness, prosperous. What else?
Pain-free.
Pain-free. Great. There we go. Now we're starting to talk. What else?
Passionate.
Passion. Okay, perfect. So I speak numerous times a week to different size of corporations, and over my last 9 years of doing this, the best definition I've got from you guys is that health is how I look and how I feel. So if I look a certain way, like the people on TV and our magazines, or if I feel great, able to be active and do the things I want, that would equate to health. And you guys would tell me that that's what? Pretty accurate. But that's very dangerous, because that's not what health is. So health by definition, Dr. Aaron talked on a little bit, health by definition is functionality of the body. Meaning that if your body functions at 100%, you're going to get 100% life expression in your body. So I wrote down this number 100. So what controls the function of your body? And it's going to be your what? Your brain. No, not your spine. You go above your spine, it's your brain. Okay, so your brain is the life force, the life center of your body. But what controls your brain? Do you guys think it's your brain that controls the brain? So you guys don't know, right? Because no one's ever told you. There was a gentleman by the name of Erwin Kohr. He won a Nobel Prize for the detection of spinal misalignments in the body. And when the body structure becomes impaired, the brain's function shuts down. So the thing below your head is like your windmill, or it's like the windmill, right, that powers the brain. So your spine is responsible for powering your brain, not the other way around. So if you have damaged posture, if you have crooks in your body, and if you sit all day long, you're damaging and turning down the brain's life force in your body. So here's the problem with that. Is I call them the 7 laws. The 7 laws of life go like this. The first law is this. We look for things in our office called subluxation. So I don't treat people's symptoms. I find the true cause and root cause of people's problems. Why? Because if it's coming from the brain, your body's being shut down. If it's coming from your spine, it's shutting down faster. So the first law is this, that your body, you will not have a symptom in your body till you function at 60%. So you lose 40% function of your body, of the organ cells and tissues before you have your first symptom. Say wow.
Wow.
Thanks. It's what you guys want, right? Because here's the deal. Your symptoms are alarm systems that tell us that there's a problem. So the first time you have your first warning sign, you get a symptom of whatever it is in your body, but what do most people do to that symptom? We treat it, right? We treat the symptom, we don't find the cause. Right? We take a pill, a potion, a lotion, we do whatever else, but we never get to the cause. So the second law is this. There was another research study done, and they found that if you have spinal misalignments or subluxation, it can take 15 to 20 years off your life. So 15 to 20 years off your life. So your spinal structure, you're built on curves like this, at 45, 45, and 45. And what the research showed is that if you have a negative curve, this was done by Chung-Ha Su, another Nobel Prize winner from Colorado. He found that if your curve is going the wrong way, it takes 15 to 20 years off your life. But when do you feel that you have a reverse curve? You don't, right? Because it's undetectable. You're going to have symptoms. You treat your symptoms and you think you're fine, and your health is still going where? Down. Okay? Yeah, you can't see that. Sorry, I'm not an artist. I need to take Susan's work to get my brain to be better. I was exactly what she described, a terrible test taker. Now I'm nervous. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, that's normal. So the third thing is this, is that you normally don't feel it, you don't normally detect it, and you never know it's there unless you take a picture of it. Right? So the only way to tell if you have damage on your spine is by taking a what? An X-ray. So you cannot know if there's any spinal misalignments or damage without an X-ray. Right? A lot of chiropractors say that that's unnecessary. Well, my example of that is like if I go to Vegas for the weekend and win an award, okay, I leave my wife and my child, my 2 children here, and I'm in Vegas. I'm go there for Friday, and I win an award. I'm the world's greatest, whatever you guys want me to be. I'm doing it for you. Laugh. I'm funny. See, I get what I want. So I'm in Vegas. I call my wife. I'm like, hey, I won an award. They want me to stay Saturday and Sunday, all expenses paid. Can I do it? My wife would probably say, yeah, you work really hard, you can do it. Then I tell her I'm 95% committed to my marriage, and what she tells me. What's she going to tell me? What would she tell me? Get your ass home or stay in Vegas and never come home. Your stuff's in the lawn. Nice knowing you, right? Because in your life, you want your partners committed to what percent? So in terms of your health, how well do you want your doctors to know what's going on? 100%. So in our office, we don't do any guesswork, okay? It's 100%. So that's the only way to tell if it's there. The other problem with subluxation is this. The longer you have it, the worse it what? Worse it gets. Right? So people say to me, I don't need it, right? Chiropractic doesn't work for me. I hear that all the time. Okay? There's a yes and no to that. Chiropractic works 100% of the time when its practice is chiropractic, meaning finding vertebral subluxation and removing vertebral subluxation. That's what I do in my office. That's all I can do because that's what I was trained at. Now, when you try to treat people's symptoms, that's when chiropractic will not work because we're not in the symptom game. We're not in the symptom market. We don't treat symptoms. Do I care about your symptoms? Yes, but I care more importantly about finding the cause and removing that, allowing your body to heal. So most of us in this room, we've lost touch that our bodies are self-healing. Because we believe that we created life, right? Any of you guys have kids? Did you guys create that? I don't know. Did you guys, your wives get immaculately concepted? Is there more Jesuses here in Colorado than we know of? Right? So 2 people came together, sperm and egg, to create that life. Right? When's that life leave you? The day you what? The day you die. But here's the thing that you don't know, that your bodies are made up of millions of cells. Okay, trillions of cells. And every minute that I've been speaking to you, 2.5 million cells have died and been replaced by either healthy cells or sick cells. So if your body's free of interference and working correctly, what kind of cells are you going to get? Healthy cells. So here's what you guys don't understand is every 9 days you get new blood. That's how you can take a guy that's doped, okay, done drugs, doped, does it, quits for 9 days, and in 9 days that doping is going to be where? Gone. Right? That's why these guys are smart. They know that because someone taught them that's 9 days before you get new blood. So if you get blood in 9 days, every 4 months you get a new heart. Did you guys know that? Say wow.
Wow.
You guys are the greatest things in the world. Time? How about time?
You've done 9. You go to long.
Okay, cool.
Halfway through.
Okay, so we got heart. Then after heart, every 6 months you get a new set of internal organs. So your organs regenerate. That's how you can take someone that smoked for 85 years, have them stop smoking. In 9 months they get what? New set of lungs, as long as they get that nervous system clear. Okay, so so 4, 7, 9. 9 is muscles. Every 9 months you get a new set of muscles. Then every year you get a new skeleton or a new body, and every 7 years you get a new skeletal system based on your body's ability to recreate life. So the question I have for you sitting here is if you're free and clear and your brain's doing its job, what kind of body are you going to have? In 7 years you're going to be what? Say great. You're going to be great and healthy, right? But if you have damage, what's going to be? Where are you going to be next year? You're going to be what? Worse. That's called disease, right? That's the disease process. And disease processes live where? Take your thumb, go like this. Do it. Because I want you guys to understand that inside your body's disease process. It's normal, it's natural, right? Cancer. How many of you guys are afraid of cancer? Right? Why are you guys afraid of cancer? Well, that's what you've been taught to believe. But without cancer cells in your body, you guys would all died a long time ago. Because cancer is a normal expression of its environment. Like Dr. Aaron said, there was a study done in Canada this year, 2014 study, that they found 95% of all cancers is not genetic. Okay? Cancer is 5% genetic, 95% lifestyle. Right? Meaning that we pull the trigger on our genes to malform or to function incorrectly. So back to this. I can, if you guys want questions on cancer, I can give you my email address. You can email me. You know, and just get to the root cause of it. So the last thing real quick is this. Subluxations are only detectable by X-ray. If you have them, when do you want to find them? Now, right? So you need to do it now. Why? Because it's destroying your cells. It's shutting down the cells and the life of the organ cells and tissues. So to me, the one thing you need to have your brain function properly is have this spine be aligned. Like I said, it's the windmill that drives the brain. So this is more important because it controls the brain. Your brain's the life center, but if the brain's not getting signals down, how good is it? You guys answer that question. Right? And how do I know this to be true? Because my own life and my own health. Okay, I thought chiropractors were for back pain and neck pain and symptoms. I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes and cirrhosis of my liver at 25 years old. I weighed 265 pounds. I could play 180 minutes of rugby on the weekend. I almost made the national team in Canada. So I was athletic. I thought it was my way, and I got really sick. I didn't know it was from inside. Medically, they said I had to take 15 pills to be alive. I said, no way. They said because it was going to cause me to be infertile, erectile problems, and not to be able to have children. I got engaged 6 months prior to that diagnosis. So now my life was ruined. I didn't know there was a thing. I'm in chiropractic school at the time, and there was a corrective care chiropractor that saved my life. He educated me on subluxation, these 7 laws, and I'm in front of you today. I have 2 children, okay, things I was told I'd never have medically. So I have 2 kids. I don't have cirrhosis. I don't have diabetes. I have 100% life, health, and healing. Why? Because I got my spine corrected. He was the first chiropractor ever to take x-rays on me and adjust me based on my what? X-rays. I help people with cancer. I help kids walk. I've got people out of wheelchairs. Why? Because it's a law. And the law states that if there's no interference, your body's going to heal as it was designed to do. So I just want to leave you guys with this. Be healers.